Every night after work, I used to scroll through social media and feel like everyone else was financially winning except me. I saw new houses, new cars, expensive vacations, and quietly wondered why my own progress felt invisible and painfully slow. I wasn't reckless with money, I wasn't lazy, and I wasn't ignoring my finances, yet something still felt deeply wrong. Even while paying bills on time and saving consistently, I carried this heavy fear that I was somehow falling behind financially. That quiet anxiety is exactly why I'm making this video, because I know many of you feel this same pressure every day. If you've ever done everything right with money but still felt stressed or disappointed, this conversation is for you. Before we go any further, gently like this video so it reaches others silently struggling with money the same way. You can also comment where you're watching from, because I read those comments and they help guide future videos. And if calm, realistic money conversations help you think more clearly, consider subscribing for future videos like this. Today, I want to slow everything down and talk honestly about what real financial progress actually looks like. Because social media has trained us to believe that looking rich means we're doing well financially, and that's rarely true. Real financial stability usually grows quietly, through habits and decisions that never look impressive online. That's why so many responsible people feel behind, even when they're actually building something strong beneath the surface. I didn't realize this for years, and that misunderstanding caused unnecessary stress, doubt, and constant self-judgment. Eventually, I learned that feeling behind does not automatically mean you are behind in real financial terms. In fact, that uncomfortable feeling often appears right when you're transitioning from chaos into stability. So in this video, I'm going to walk you through 7 signs you're doing better with money than you think. These signs aren't about luxury or income, but about security, control, and long-term financial resilience. Each one reflects habits that protect your future, even when they don't create excitement or instant confidence. And once you recognize these signs in your own life, your entire relationship with money begins to change. Most people assume financial success should feel exciting, but real stability usually feels quiet, boring, and surprisingly uncomfortable at first. When prices rise and headlines constantly warn about economic uncertainty, it's easy to mistake anxiety for actual financial failure. Federal Reserve surveys from 2024 show many Americans feel worse financially than their numbers actually indicate on paper today. That gap between feelings and facts creates constant stress, even for people steadily building healthy financial foundations long term. I experienced this personally, constantly questioning my progress despite doing the exact behaviors financial experts recommend over years. That's why before judging yourself harshly, it's critical to understand how real financial progress actually shows up over time. The first sign most people overlook is not flashy, but it quietly determines how safe your life really is. If you have any emergency savings at all, even a small amount, you're already ahead of most households. Bankrate's latest 2025 data shows over half of Americans cannot cover a $1,000 emergency without debt today unexpectedly. That means a single car repair or medical bill can instantly throw millions of families into financial panic. An emergency fund doesn't make you feel rich. It simply prevents fear from controlling every decision you make. When something goes wrong, you don't immediately reach for high-interest credit because you planned for unpredictability ahead of time. I used to underestimate this, thinking my emergency savings were pointless because they just sat quietly unused there. Later, I realized that unused savings were actually doing their job by buying me calm and stability during chaos. Think of an emergency fund like a house foundation. Invisible online, but essential when storms inevitably arrive unexpectedly and suddenly. Nobody posts screenshots of their emergency fund, yet it quietly supports everything else in their financial life long term. Even $500 saved can dramatically reduce stress when life throws surprises you didn't plan for financially. This is why emergency savings are about emotional stability as much as they are about money long term. If you've built any emergency cushion at all, that alone signals responsible progress most people never reach financially. Recognizing this first sign helps you replace self-criticism with clarity. and prepares you for the next level of growth. The second sign feels subtle, but it completely changes how much control you actually have over your money. If you are no longer living paycheck to paycheck, even barely, you are doing better than you probably realize. Many people assume high income guarantees security, yet millions earning good salaries still feel constant financial pressure. Lending Club's late 2024 report shows most Americans still depend entirely on each paycheck to survive monthly expenses. Even households earning over six figures often struggle because spending quietly grows to match income without margin. What truly matters is not how much you earn, but whether money remains after essentials every single month. Having leftover money creates breathing room, and breathing room is one of the most powerful forms of financial security. Even $100 remaining monthly gives you flexibility most people do not have when life shifts unexpectedly. I used to dismiss small surpluses as meaningless, until I realized they prevented constant stress and reactive decisions. That leftover money means you can absorb small problems without immediately panicking or sacrificing long-term goals. Federal Reserve data from 2024 shows many Americans could not cover next month's expenses if income stopped suddenly. So if you consistently finish months with money left, you are building stability. Others are quietly missing. This kind of progress rarely feels exciting because it looks like restraint instead of visible lifestyle upgrades. Social media rewards spending, but real financial strength grows from controlling expenses before upgrading appearances. A person earning less but saving consistently is often far more stable than someone earning more and saving nothing. Key. True progress is measured by what you keep, not what you spend to signal success publicly. When bills are paid and money remains, you gain confidence that your system is actually working quietly. That confidence builds slowly, but it reduces anxiety more effectively than any sudden income increase ever could. If you are no longer trapped in paycheck survival mode, that is a major financial milestone worth recognizing. This second sign confirms you are creating control, not just income, which changes everything moving forward. Yikauvath. The third sign may feel ordinary, but it quietly shapes your financial future more than most people realize. If you consistently pay your bills on time, you are building financial trust long before wealth ever appears. Late payments feel small in the moment, but they silently damage opportunities you might need years later. Consumer Financial Protection Bureau data shows millions of Americans still pay bills late throughout the year. What many people don't realize is that payment history makes up the largest portion of your credit profile. That means each on-time payment strengthens your reputation, even when nobody notices or congratulates your discipline. I used to think paying bills on time was just basic adulthood, not something worth acknowledging or valuing. Later, I realized this habit quietly lowered my stress, my interest costs, and my financial vulnerability. Good credit is not about impressing lenders. It is about protecting your future options and flexibility. Strong credit reduces borrowing costs, saving thousands over time without requiring higher income or risky decisions. Core. Research from 2024 shows higher credit scores consistently lead to lower interest rates across major life purchases. Those savings compound quietly, freeing more money for stability instead of paying unnecessary interest forever. Simple systems like autopay and reminders turn consistency into a powerful long-term advantage most people ignore. You do not need to be wealthy to build strong credit, only reliable, disciplined, and intentional with payments. Paying bills on time signals maturity, control, and responsibility long before wealth becomes visible externally. This habit rarely feels rewarding because it prevents problems instead of creating dramatic wins you can celebrate. But prevention is often the difference between calm financial growth and constant stress cycles. If you've been paying your bills consistently, you are quietly protecting yourself from future financial pressure. That protection gives you leverage when life changes, opportunities arise, or unexpected expenses appear suddenly. This third sign proves that stability often begins with boring habits repeated consistently over time. The fourth sign often creates doubt because investing small amounts rarely feels meaningful or rewarding during the earliest stages. If you invest consistently, even with modest sums, You are doing something most people postpone far too long. Many Americans believe investing requires large sums up front, which quietly convinces them to wait and lose precious time. According to Charles Schwab research from 2024, nearly 60% of adults still do not invest regularly today. I once delayed investing because I believed my contributions were too small to matter in the long run. What I eventually learned is that time, not money, determines how powerful investing becomes over many years consistently. Compounding quietly rewards patience by allowing small, consistent contributions to grow into meaningful outcomes over time naturally, steadily. Investing works less like gambling and more like planting something that grows steadily while you focus elsewhere patiently. Markets rise and fall unpredictably, but time smooths volatility for people who stay invested and emotionally disciplined long-term. Over the past decade, patient investors benefited simply by staying invested through fear, noise, and temporary declines consistently. Starting early matters far more than starting perfectly, because progress compounds while hesitation quietly creates regret over time. Even $20 or $50 invested monthly builds a habit that strengthens your future financial identity over time. This habit trains your mind to prioritize long-term stability instead of chasing short-term comfort or approval from others. Investing small amounts rarely feels impressive, which is why many people underestimate its long-term impact on their future. Consistency transforms ordinary financial actions into extraordinary results when time is allowed to work patiently for you long-term. Each contribution becomes a quiet vote for your future self, even when progress feels invisible today to others. I realized investing was less about chasing returns and more about committing to myself consistently over the years. That shift replaced anxiety with patience and helped me trust slow progress instead of constant urgency around money. If you invest consistently today, you are building wealth quietly, while others remain stuck waiting for certainty confidence. This fourth sign proves real financial progress often begins long before confidence or excitement ever appears internally. The fifth sign feels emotional because it reflects a subtle shift most people don't recognize until much later. When you stop constantly comparing your finances to others, your stress decreases even if your numbers barely change. Social media trains us to compare highlights while hiding debt, anxiety, and sacrifices that quietly exist behind the scenes. The American Psychological Association reported in 2024 that financial comparison significantly increases stress and feelings of inadequacy nationwide. I noticed my confidence improved once I measured progress against my past instead of strangers online regularly there. Comparing your Chapter 3 to someone else's Chapter 20 creates unnecessary pressure that distorts reality and perspective completely. Many people appearing wealthy online rely on leased lifestyles, hidden debt, or financial support you never see there. Federal Reserve data shows median net worth for younger Americans remains far lower than social media suggests today. When you stop comparing, mental energy shifts toward habits you can actually control and improve over time consistently. That shift alone can dramatically improve financial discipline without changing income or lifestyle immediately for many people long-term. The fifth sign is not caring less, but caring more intentionally about what truly matters to you personally. When comparison fades, confidence grows quietly because progress finally has room to compound over months and years ahead. This emotional maturity often arrives before visible success, confusing people who expect instant validation from others online today. If you feel calmer about money despite modest results, that calm itself is meaningful progress for your future. Recognizing this sign helps you stop chasing appearances and start building sustainable confidence from within over time steadily. The sixth sign focuses on awareness, because knowing where money goes creates control most people lack today financially. You do not need complicated spreadsheets. Simple awareness already separates calm households from constant stress around money decisions. Intuit surveys show most Americans cannot explain last month's spending, which fuels anxiety and confusion about money management. Once I began checking accounts weekly, confusion turned into clarity without drastic lifestyle changes or extreme budgeting rules. Knowing your numbers builds confidence because uncertainty shrinks when awareness replaces guessing and fear slowly over time consistently. Awareness changes behavior naturally because once you see spending patterns, clearly better decisions begin happening without force over time. Consumer Financial Protection Bureau research shows people who track spending consistently save more without increasing income levels long term. Understanding your money flow replaces shame with clarity and gives you back a calm sense of control, daily confidence. If you can clearly explain where your money goes monthly, you already possess a skill many households never develop. The seventh sign focuses on resilience because relying on only one paycheck creates hidden vulnerability during uncertain economic periods. I learned this lesson personally during unstable seasons when depending on one income felt fragile and emotionally exhausting. Multiple income streams do not mean endless hustling. They simply reduce pressure placed on your primary financial source. United States Census Bureau data from 2024 shows over 40% of Americans earn money from secondary sources. Even small side income provides breathing room that protects your decisions from fear-driven reactions during uncertain moments. Think of income like a table because one leg breaks easily while several legs remain strong under pressure. Takdir. Extra income can come from skills, creativity dividends, or flexible part-time work fitting your lifestyle realistically today better. I noticed my confidence grow once my entire future no longer depended on a single employer alone, financially, emotionally. That shift moved me from survival mode into progress mode, changing how I approached opportunities with calm intention. Even $100 each month can reduce anxiety and quietly create new options when life changes unexpectedly later. This sign matters because resilience determines who stays stable during disruptions that overwhelm others financially repeatedly over time long. Cordi. When income sources multiply, stress decreases because no single setback threatens your entire financial foundation any more seriously today. Taken together, these signs form a pattern that quietly tells a very different financial story about you today. They reveal not failure, but discipline, patience, and responsibility, steadily growing beneath the surface of your life daily habits. Feeling behind often appears right before stability becomes strong enough to feel almost boring financially over time, consistently. That boredom is not stagnation. It is evidence your financial system is finally working the way it should. When you look at these signs together, they tell a story most people never pause long enough to notice. They show that you are not falling behind, but slowly building stability through choices that rarely feel dramatic. I once believed financial progress should feel exciting, which made me overlook the quiet wins shaping my future. That misunderstanding caused unnecessary stress because I kept waiting for confidence instead of recognizing progress already happening. Financial stability often feels boring because systems finally work without constant emergencies demanding your attention daily. Dar. If you have 2 or 3 of these signs, you are already ahead of millions of Americans today. Having 4 or 5 signs places you among households quietly building real financial strength without external validation. Even reaching this stage requires discipline, patience, and emotional maturity many people never fully develop. Your progress matters, even if it does not match timelines or expectations you once imagined for yourself. Stability grows when you stop dismissing small, responsible decisions that quietly protect your future consistently. I want you to notice how your relationship with money has already changed through awareness, discipline, and intention. Feeling calmer about finances is not luck. It is the result of habits repeated patiently over time. Most people never acknowledge progress because they expect success to feel loud, visible, and immediately rewarding. Quiet progress often creates the strongest foundations because it survives pressure, stress, and unpredictable life changes. You deserve credit for choosing responsibility even when nobody else sees or celebrates those choices publicly. Doris. Recognizing your growth strengthens confidence and helps you continue making decisions aligned with long-term stability. This is how financial independence actually begins, not through luck, but through consistent, calm, deliberate behavior. The goal is not perfection, but steady improvement that protects your peace and expands your options. Once you see progress clearly, you stop chasing appearances and start trusting your own financial path. And that shift quietly changes everything about how secure and confident your future begins to feel. I want you to understand that financial confidence grows quietly, long before numbers ever make you feel successful. Most people quit too early because progress feels invisible during the exact phase where strong foundations are forming. I nearly doubted myself during that phase because nothing looked impressive enough to prove I was moving forward. Stability does not announce itself. It slowly removes fear, stress, and urgency from everyday financial decisions over time. When emergencies no longer cause panic, you begin realizing how much strength you have already built inside yourself. When bills feel manageable and choices feel intentional, your financial system is working even if income feels unchanged. These quiet signals matter more than any sudden raise bonus or lifestyle upgrade you could ever post online. Your habits are shaping a future that feels calmer, more predictable, and far less fragile than before today. That calm is not accidental. It is earned through discipline, awareness, and repeated responsible decisions over time consistently. Many people chase excitement with money, but stability is what actually creates lasting long-term freedom for most people. I want you to pause and recognize how far you have already come instead of focusing on what's missing. Acknowledging progress does not make you complacent. It strengthens confidence and reinforces healthy financial behavior over time consistently. When you trust your system, you stop reacting emotionally and start responding deliberately to challenges with clarity and patience. This mindset shift separates people who build lasting security from those who remain stuck in financial stress for years. Your journey does not need to look impressive. It needs to feel sustainable and aligned with your values. Real financial strength is quiet, patient, and built through choices that protect your peace consistently over long periods. If this video helped you see your progress more clearly, take a moment to reflect honestly about your journey. Comment which signs you already have, because sharing progress often helps others feel less alone right now today. Share this with someone who feels behind, but is quietly doing better than they realize right now, financially. And if calm, realistic money conversations help you feel clearer, subscribe for future videos like this every single week. Darpers. You are building a financial life based on strength, stability, and intention, rather than fear, appearances, or constant comparison. Every responsible decision you make quietly reinforces your ability to handle uncertainty with confidence and emotional maturity. Feeling behind does not mean you are behind, because emotions rarely reflect true financial progress accurately. When you review your habits honestly, you will see evidence of growth that numbers alone cannot fully capture. You have already taken steps many people avoid for years because facing money requires courage and self-honesty. Even without dramatic results, your consistency is creating invisible momentum that eventually becomes unmistakable progress. Your emergency savings, discipline, awareness, and investments are quietly building a foundation stronger than you imagine. This foundation protects you. During difficult seasons, others are not prepared to handle calmly or confidently. Financial growth rarely comes from dramatic moments, but from quiet choices repeated steadily, month after month. You are choosing long-term peace over short-term temptation, which is the core of sustainable financial independence. Each calm decision expands your confidence and gives you greater control over future opportunities and challenges. You are becoming someone who manages money with clarity, patience, and a long-term perspective few people develop. That identity shift matters more than any single financial milestone because it lasts for the rest of your life. Imagine yourself 1 year from now feeling calmer because these habits continued strengthening without dramatic effort. Imagine handling unexpected expenses with confidence because you built systems that support you during uncertainty. Imagine trusting yourself financially because experience replaced fear with understanding, discipline, and resilience. This future is not unrealistic because it grows naturally from the choices you are already making today. You do not need perfection to succeed financially. You need consistency, awareness, and patience through uncertainty. Recognizing your progress today strengthens your commitment and helps you continue building without self-doubt. You are doing better with money than you think, and that quiet progress will protect your future.